Everyone. We are continuing this workshop, this free Start Your Journey workshop here on my Facebook page, or if you're watching the replay, it's also on my YouTube channel. Yesterday, we started out, I painted some here on my big canvas, and we talked about finding ideas. Today, our topic is fear. So as you come on, let me know that you're here and that you can see and hear everything okay, and just say hello and happy Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about something that I think is probably the number one thing that holds most of us back from creating art, doing anything that is a little bit uncomfortable, or just putting ourselves out there in general. And I'm going to share with you something that you may not know about me, and that is something that is a personal fear of mine and how I've worked through it. So, hi, Kellen. Let's see who else said hi, Lynn. So, when I polled most of you several weeks ago about what's holding you back, what's keeping you from feeling like you are going to make better art, to find your style, to do the thing that you want to do, a lot of you said fear. Some of you said what we talked about yesterday, which was you just don't know where to start, or you don't have ideas, or you don't know where to get ideas. And we covered that in the previous video, but today we're going to talk about probably the second most popular answer that I got, which was I'm afraid, or some of it it's all based on that one concept of fear, but some of you just talked to me about it in a different way. So some of you may have said, I'm very self-critical. I don't think my art is very good. I don't want to show it to anyone. I don't feel like I can make good decisions, things like that. Those are all fear-based issues. And so I'm going to share something with you, and then we're going to talk about how to overcome, I'll say not really overcome, but how to deal with fears. And we're also going to look at this at the angle that we're going at with this whole workshop, which is finding your style is not. And in this case, finding your own art style is not arriving at a place where you are never fearful or feel some confidence issues or have some imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it, because that doesn't really go away. But I'm going to tell you a little something about me, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you and inspirational. And one of those things where, you know, well, if this person can do it, then I can too. That sort of thing is what I want you to come away from this with. And it is, my biggest fear is public speaking. I think that the fact that I'm doing this right now is monumental. The fact that I'm on this Facebook Live talking to all of you publicly. When I was in probably the 8th grade, I was in a history class. It was Alabama history, and we had to do an oral report. So an oral report, back in the day, you had your note cards, you wrote down everything you were going to say, you stood up in front of the class, and you gave your report. I'm feeling nervous just talking about this. So you guys are telling me that something's wrong with the... Hang on. Let me know if you're having problems watching, because, well, Tiffany says keeps flashing to a green screen. Maybe it'll just clear up on its own. I don't know. Okay, back to Alabama history, 8th grade. I never had problems with this before in the past. But I did have major issues on the day that I was supposed to go up in front of my class, which was a very small class because I went to a private school and we only had probably 10 people in my class. And so I get my note cards ready, I go up to the front, and I'm standing there and I feel like I'm gonna pass out. And I've never been through anything like this before. I didn't know what to do. I started talking and I could feel my voice quivering. I could feel that I wasn't able to speak, like the words would not come out of my mouth. So I just put my note cards down and I walked out of the room and I went into the girls' bathroom and hid. And so that was my first experience with, of course, the teachers came in and checked on me to make sure I wasn't sick or something was wrong with me. And it was just the fact that I was just that nervous. I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't do it. And so that experience made me just fearful of public speaking in general for the remainder of my life. That was in the 8th grade. Okay, so let's fast forward to, let's see, what year would that have been? 2017. And I have an art business and I'm doing things online and Facebook Live. Actually, Periscope came out first, then Facebook Live. And I was in a coaching group where my business coach was telling everyone, you need to be doing live videos. And that is how you're going to gain some momentum. That's how you're going to get your business started. And so I had to try to do my best to face the fear, get over it. And the fact that I'm doing this now is unbelievable to me in my own head. But really, I'm still very introverted, very shy, very quiet. I'm not like a go-getter. I don't do a lot of, I probably would still feel sick and pass out if I had to do some sort of event where I was on a stage. I mean, I could probably get over it, but I would not want to do that. And when it came to Facebook Lives, I didn't want to do it. I made a lot of excuses for why I didn't want to do it, but then eventually I did it. And after the first one, I realized this is not quite as bad as I thought it would be. And so the doing is what got me past the fear. And that's the full circle that we're coming back around to, and what that has to do with you and fear in general. So if I had not made Facebook Live videos in 2017, I'm pretty sure I would not have the art business that I have today. I'm pretty sure that I would not be doing this right now. And I definitely would not be teaching publicly like I do in video, recording, have a YouTube channel, things like that. That would never have happened. So, these videos that I'm doing and that I have done were not going to happen unless I did something, unless I went through with it and fought the fear and just did it. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with you with your artwork. No one is going to be able to do it for you. You have to make your artwork and you have to put it out there. When you are an artist and you're producing work and you're putting it out into the world for sale, or just putting it out there in general, if you have classes or whatever it may be, you are the only person that can do that. You can have, I shouldn't say that. You can have someone who does it for you. The marketing, publicity, all that. But most of the time, you are the one that's going to have to do it. So, getting past the fear of whatever the thing is that you are fearing is going to take doing. So you've got to just do whatever the thing is that you're afraid of. And the more often that you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And we're all going to start out a little bit with a little quiver in our voice, just like I was saying with that first Facebook Live that I did. And I was really nervous. But the second time I did it, it was not as bad. And then the next time I did it, I was getting to a point where I kind of liked it. And you just do it until you don't feel as afraid. Just getting on here today, I did have a little nerves before we started, because anytime I talk about myself, it makes me nervous. I don't know why. But if I had not made myself push past the fear and just try something, then look at what I would not have accomplished and would not be able to teach you. So your artwork, like I said, is not going to make itself. You've got to make it. And being fearful of what's going to happen when you try something new or do something different, or you don't follow exactly what someone else is doing or copy exactly what someone else has created, then you're going to build confidence. And the more that you do it, the more you're going to realize, okay, when I put down this color, this is what's going to happen. So you're going to be able to kind of predict the outcome. When you're first beginning, you don't know what's going to happen. And that is what makes it a little bit scary. The unknown is scary. So I want to just encourage those of you who are feeling a little bit fearful or are having some self-criticism, some self-confidence issues when it comes to making choices with your artwork, to just do it. The doing is where the confidence will come in. So we're going to work on this some more today. And also, there is a link in the description here. I have the Beyond the Brush course ready a few days early. So I was aiming at releasing it on Monday, the 19th, but it's completely ready. And I have a little early bird price discount for those of you who want to go ahead and jump in today through Monday or Friday. I think I did it through Friday. I'll have to look back and see. But it tells you when you go to the link, it'll tell you how long the special early bird price is, and it is $47 for the course if you're interested. Okay, so now we're going to work on this painting some more. And with the theme of fear being what we're talking about today, let me see if I can aim this a little better. I'm going to do something over here, and I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be yet. So that is going to be a little bit scary. And I want to show you that another thing that has to do with painting and fear is that you can paint over things. It's just paint. Don't think about wasting things or messing something up. All of those things are irrelevant when it comes to making art. You've got to just go for it and just get into it and see what happens. And if you don't like your results, you can start over. And if you don't like what happens, you can change it. So it's not something that, I think this is one reason why I don't like drawing as much as I like painting, because it's a lot easier to paint over something than to erase something and start over. Okay, so yesterday we added this, and today I want to add something over here, and I'm thinking it's going to be another flower. So I'm going to get out some paint. See if I can turn this a little bit this way. Can you see my palette? I don't think you can. But this is Burnt Sienna. And if you guys have questions about anything as I am here working today, you can ask them in the comments. If I don't see them when the questions when they pop up, I'll come back and answer them after the video. And if you missed yesterday's video, you can go to my website under blog, and I've got a page set up there where I'm archiving all of these videos. They're also over on my YouTube channel. And they're gonna stay up. I'm not planning to remove them. Okay. So, over here, we need something. And I think I'm going to do another flower. I think I want it to... Actually, this is going to be good for this topic of fear, because I'm going to do some work on this one down here and change the direction of it a little bit, because I feel like this flower would look better over here. Let me think for a minute. Let's just go in here and put something down. See how I'm just going for it? It needs to be a little bit smaller because I want some variety in shape and size. And this one may be okay. I'm probably going to remove part of the bottom of it down here. I don't know yet. Okay, so I think that's what I'm going to do here. Have one big flower here. And I know that some of you yesterday were talking about that you couldn't see exactly what I was doing. But the purpose of our videos for this week are not necessarily painting tutorials so much as whatever topic we're working on. Like yesterday was ideas, and I showed you how to grab ideas. Today we're talking about fear, and I'm going to show you how I'm jumping in here somewhat fearlessly, but cautiously, and working on something. Let's see. What are the words at the bottom of the painting? It is Proverbs 31:31, and it says, "Give her the fruit of her hands." Okay, and I wrote it with a Posca pen so that I could write it pretty easily. And I think all this texture is making it kind of hard for me to do this, but I think that if I just remove part of the bottom of that flower, it's going to make it look the way I want it to look. Some more of this burnt sienna, which I need to buy some more of because I'm almost out. Those of you who are creative community members, have you had time to go in and take a look at the Beyond the Brush course? And if you have, let me know in the comments what you think so far, because this is a different kind of course than what I've done in the past, in that the lessons are short, the videos are short, but you have assignments that you do that take up more time. Okay, that's going to be about the right size, I think. Now, I'm going to put in some shape. I think I want this one to turn that way. So, let's try to go for that. And someone asked me yesterday if I have any tutorials about painting flowers like this, and I do have a workshop called Roses and Peonies, or Peonies. I never know how to say that right. And you don't have to be a member of my creative community to purchase that. It's on my website under workshops. But if you are a member, it's in your library. Okay. All this texture, it's making it a little bit difficult for me to do this. So just keep that in mind. If you paint, if you repaint on a canvas and paint over something, that texture can make it a little bit hard. Okay, so now I'm gonna really go in there with the white. So that one's turning out a little smaller, a little more closed than this one that is big and open. And I'm gonna, what am I gonna do? Okay, I'm gonna work on this bottom of this one down here and see. And then we're gonna add some more leaves and stems and things like that. And since this has this yellow here, I'm gonna add some yellow in there, but I'm gonna wait and let some of it dry before I go in and add that. All right, so what I think is I need to cover up some of this down here. But I gotta think about it for a minute. And this is where things are gonna get a little bit scary, but it's okay. Because I do like this flower. I don't want to mess it up. But I just feel like something about this down here is not, it's just not right. Maybe that, just that little bit of change is going to help me to think about this in my head and decide if I need to do anything different. Can you see that? Because I'm not sure. Okay, now you can see it, I know. So I just covered up this one little spot down here. And I like that better already. It's just a little bit of a switch. Okay, so now let's put in some more stems and leaves. Let me pull you a little closer. Let's see if I can do this over this way. And I know you can't see my palette, but I've got cadmium yellow, and I'm going to use some black, just like we did yesterday. And I'm going to come back and put some yellow in this flower here. Actually, now that I'm looking at that, I want to make a petal that's coming down like this. I think that's gonna, I need to do that. But let me see, I've got to grab my white. This may not work the way I think I want it to in my head. Seems kind of disconnected. And yeah, I don't like that. So we're gonna let this dry right here and come back to it later. And we're gonna add some more stems in the meantime. Stems and leaves. I'm gonna go over some of these leaves down here that I don't like the color of. And I feel like the leaves are much too small for the size of these flowers. So we're gonna beef them up a little. Can you see? No, you cannot. Hang on and I'll get us positioned right. Okay. So let's get some bigger leaves here. That's going to make a big difference in the way that it looks too. And I'm going to want some of them to be a little bit bigger than others, and some of them to be a little bit darker than others. And some of them will be the actual shape of a leaf, and some of them will just be the idea of one. And as I'm looking at this right here, I do not like it at all. Just to let you know. I do not like this flower at all. And so what's going to happen is I will redo it. Okay. Let's just put a big leaf right here. And since my background is black, I'm able to create these leaves in a more loose fashion because they're dark too, unless I add some white and really lighten it up. And it just becomes sort of like it pushes the leaves back in the background. And it's going to be a lot more green in the background than black when I finish this up. But like right here, I can do something that's like a brighter green. And it gives the idea of leaves being there, but they're not, you know, all structured and tight. And then these little leaves here are going to stand out more because they're pulled forward if I make them a little bit lighter or brighter or more structured. Even just a swipe of your brush can give the impression of a leaf. All right, so I'm gonna get some white and lighten up and make a couple of leaves there that look more like the shape of a leaf. And then that's gonna help your eyes to translate it and see that it's more like a leaf. Okay, so now we gotta decide what to do with this. And I'm still not 100% sure. But what happens is you have to put something down and see if you like it. I like everything over here, but I'm not so happy with the new flower. So we just have to fix it so that we like it. And there are lots of ways to do that. You could just completely cover it up and start over, or just cover up the parts that you don't like at all. And I think right about there is where it started going wrong. So I'm just going to cover up this part. And if fear of doing it wrong is part of what's holding you back, then just know that you can fix it. You can cover it. You can redo it. And you can paint it as many times as you need to until you get it the way you want it. Okay. So let's put a little bit of yellow in here and work on warming up some of that flower. So I'm getting out my yellow ochre that is hard to get out. Okay. And I'm sorry I haven't answered any of your questions. See, Bobby says, part of my scariness is liking what I have so far and not continuing. So, but that's a good thing to do. If you get to a point where you're satisfied with something, then you can stop. So that's another thing that happens sometimes, is that you keep working on it and keep working on it until you don't like it anymore and you overwork it. So one thing that I always say is, when you're working on something, stop before you think you're finished. Take a picture of it with your phone or your iPad or something and look at it to decide, is this really what I want to do? Is this the direction I want to go? Am I done? Should I keep going? Because a lot of times your photograph is going to be different from what your eyes are seeing. Because when you're right in the middle of it and you're right up in it, like I am right now, like right now I can see behind me, I can see this flower. When I turn around and look at it, it looks a little bit different. So it helps me to be able to see things through my my camera rather than just directly looking at it. And I just looked over at this, and I think I need a flower this shape. So these are supposed to be like wild roses. And I think that if I did one that was smaller, but like this, that I would be happier with it. I don't like the shape of this. So let's just totally change the shape. And here's to being fearless. All right. So, oh, this is still wet. Hang on a minute. I need to let that. Actually, I'm not going to let it dry. I'm going to use my paper towel and do this. Because the flower that I'm going to make is going to be pretty big. I mean, it's not going to be huge, but it's going to overlap some of this. And I don't need that much paint. I kind of overdid it with my black. Okay, so that should take enough of it off that I can paint over it now and it'll be okay. All right, so let's get out some more burnt sienna. And going for something like this. So we're going to have a center and we're going to have petals coming out like this time. So I'm just going to kind of give it an outline. And I know that this black is coming into it, but it's okay. It's just going to give me some darker value. So our center is going to be about right there. We're going to have all these petals coming out like this. And I've already got some, let me open my black back up. I've already got some black and yellow out. So I'll make some green and put that in the center right here. Looks pretty hideous right now, but we're gonna keep going and I'm gonna fix it. Let me see what you guys are saying. Kellen says, how do I not get paint on my clothes? I don't really know. I don't like things around my neck, and the aprons around my neck bother me while I'm painting. I don't know. Kellen says she's a messy painter. Bobby says, but it is not finished and it needs more. So if that's the case, then if you're working on something and it's not complete and it needs something else, but you don't want to mess it up, you can leave it and come back to it the next day, or just take a little break. So yeah, that's a tricky one. But the more you do it, you may mess up a few times, but the more you do it, the more you'll realize where you need to stop. Let's see. There's a little glare right here from my window. Let me see if I move this over. If it helps any. Probably not. But we're going to keep working right here. And I'm going to grab white and mix it in to what I have on my palette over here. And let's go in and start putting down this shape. And sometimes when you're working on something, I was thinking about what Bobby was just saying. Sometimes when you're working on something and it's difficult and it's giving you trouble, you just have to use some willpower and determination. And sometimes just thinking about it a different way in your head will help you tremendously. For example, when I was painting some cows recently, for some reason, I was just having a lot of trouble with one of the cow's noses, and I gave up on it for a night, and then the next day I woke up and I actually said out loud, I am going to paint that cow's nose today. And I did it. So don't underestimate the power of your mind and your determination. Alright, so in my picture that I was looking at, it's not a picture, my painting, I've got some darker areas in here, and that pulls your eye. down into that center. Okay, see how it's already beginning to come together. I know it's not perfect. Very far from it. But we're going to get this flower done today. Okay. Now we need more white. So if you want it to look like the center is kind of coming out, then you would need to have this area lighter. If you want it to look like the center is pushed back, then you would need to make that darker. See, I told you it's going to come together. And the reason why I know that it will come together is because I've done it before. And that is how you gain a little bit of fearlessness. Okay, let's work on that center. Get some yellow. I'm probably going to have to come back with a little bit of some darker green in there. But for the most part, that looks so much better than what I had to begin with. And that is how you work through mistakes and fear and just go for it and see what happens. And after you've done it a few times, then you're going to build some confidence and you're going to know, okay, this is going to be okay because I know that I can change this. And just like with me getting a little bit of this black in my paint when I was painting the white flower, I knew it would be okay because gray is going to look more like a shadow, and it's going to be fine. So let's add a little bit of some dark green in the center just to give it some extra value in there, especially around this edge. And that's going to really help it to look darker in there and pull your eye down into the center. And a few leaves. See, we can make another stem. For this one, we got a stem here for her. And got a stem here for this one. Let's do a pink leaf here. I don't know if you can see that at all, but it's looking so much better. And now I'm going to want to do something that's going that way. Just maybe some leaves up here. Something like that. And we're going to let it dry. And we will come back to it tomorrow and work on it some more. So here's what we have. You can see, I'm going to move it back a little bit more. Here's what we have so far. I'm liking it so much better already. I know I'm going to need to work on some of this in here, the center of that, and we've got some more work with our leaves and things. There's still the possibility of adding paper if we want to. I don't know yet, but it's something that is a possibility. And we'll be back tomorrow and Friday at 2 o'clock. Same time, same place. We're going to talk about 2 more topics. And like I said, the link, if you want to go ahead and jump into Beyond the Brush, that is ready for you. Let's see, Karen says, what size is my canvas? It is 36 by 36. It's really big. Let's see if I can grab some other questions while I'm here live before I go today. Let's see. Thank you, Peggy. Tiffany says, never ceases to amaze me how a few strokes completely changes it. That center just pulled it all together. And see, I'm still going to do a little bit more work on the center, but I already knew that because I had already painted it once before. And so that helps me to be brave and have an idea of what's going to happen. Let's see. Kellen says, do you prefer to paint on large or smaller canvases? It just depends on what my mood is. It's different. So painting on a large canvas takes a lot more energy because it's just bigger and you've got to use more muscles and more paint. And painting smaller is a little more relaxing to me, I think. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other questions right offhand, but if you have any, I'll be happy to answer them. I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom and see. Okay, Olga says, hi, I missed half of the live. Will this stay here so I can watch later? Yes, it's going to stay here. And also, if you go over to my website, artbyamandahilburn.com, look under the blog. I have a blog post there that I'm archiving these videos every day, and they're going to stay there. They're all going to be in one place. They're also going to be on my YouTube channel. Anyone else have any questions? All right, so we're going to go for today, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. And hopefully I've helped you to get past some of your fears by sharing some of mine with you and fearlessly painting over something that I started and painted several times in this video. But I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Bye.